vorzeitig beendet werden und so werden Rennen nach dem Laufe des Jahres unter anderem
coming home ahead of that man there, Kiana Al-Azhari, one of the absolute up-and-coming superstars in this series, as indeed is the case with Riccardo Cirelli and Julian Apostolos. It was a compelling battle, but it came out the way of car number 8, the BWT Muka Motorsport Duqueine. It was Julian Apostolos' 4th win in this series, his first of this year. But the big headline yesterday was that defending champion, Marcus Pommer, along with Valentino Catalano, qualified on the front row, but were unable to make the start of the race due to a leaking fuel tank. At the very last minute, the car had to be withdrawn from the race, and it's had a very big impact on their championship standings. It's put them very much on the back foot. They've got a lot of work to do here today in this race and also in the third race of the weekend, which takes place later on this afternoon. They're in a good position to do it because Valentina Catalano starts on the front row in P2, but it's yesterday's winner, yesterday's pole sitter, as we look at Franz Conrad, the legend of German motorsport, alongside his car. But yesterday's pole sitter and yesterday's winner starts on pole position again today. Valentina Catalano and Marcus Pommer have got an awful lot of work to do because they've dropped from second in the championship. They were just 18 points behind Danny Sufi and Torsten Kratz coming into yesterday's race. Well, they've dropped down into third place. They've been leapfrogged by Julian Apostolos and Riccardo Cirelli, who are now just 22 points adrift of Danny Sufi and Torsten Kratz. They finished in third place yesterday, a good, solid podium, and it's not necessarily race wins that win championships, it is consistency as we look at the wonderful Gebhard Motorsport Duqueine, which has Maxim Dirks at the wheel for this race. He, of course, is sharing with Jakob Erlbacher. They came home in 5th place yesterday, and they were part of another compelling battle, and that was for the last of the podium positions. We saw Torsten Kratz, Felipe Lazar, and Maxim Dirks all fighting each other for the last of the podium positions. It went down to the very last lap. The very first lap is where car number 90 disappeared off the radar with Sven Barth at the wheel. Mechanical issues saw that car retiring at the very start of the race. It meant that Michael Herrick never got a drive in the Momo Gebhard Motorsport number 90 car. Let's take a look at the grid, and it is once again Riccardo Cirelli taking his first ever pole position with Valentino Catalano for company alongside him. Then Kiana Al-Azhari, the young charger, with the legendary Felipe Lazar alongside for Fricadelli Racing Team, the German team with Klaus Abelin at the helm, and of course Klaus Abelin will be driving the number 30 car in the second stint of this race. On row 3, Antti Ramo in the MRS GT racing car. He got into trouble with the stewards yesterday. Couldn't get the car rolling after the mandatory stop. The crew came out into the pit lane to give him a push, but there was an infringement of what is allowed and what isn't allowed in Prototype Cup Germany, and he earned himself a drive-through penalty as a result. But with the cars behind not finishing, it didn't actually hit his points score hard. He was going to finish in 6th place anyway by the looks of things, but the number 14 car of Antti Ramo back on P5 for this race. So a bit of work to do there, and alongside him Torsten Kratz in the number 2 Conrad Motorsport car. So you can see your confirmation there. Right, car number 7, Suelio Almeida didn't get going yesterday. Well, they did get going, but retired early on. It was Luca Link who was at the wheel of the Data Lab Sports with Rinaldi racing car. It was great to have them as they make their debut this year on the grid of Prototype Cup Germany, but mechanical issues saw them retire. They've spoken to the stewards and have requested to use a different car. They've had permission to use a different car, the number 7 Duqueine D08. I haven't seen the number 7 car going to the grid as of yet, so we just want to see confirmation that they have actually made it, but it will be a different car to what they had yesterday. Clearly, whatever it was that took them out of the race was pretty terminal in terms of that car. P8 on the grid is another of the Gebhard Motorsport cars, Maxim Dirks at the wheel. We just saw it there, the very pretty, looks like an explosion with hundreds and thousands all over the car, doesn't it? The number 80 car lining up 8th on the grid, and then bringing up the rear, the distinctive red and yellow Momo Gebhard racing car of Michael Herrick. Now, it looks to me, yes, as though the number 7 car has made it onto the grid, so that is excellent news because Suelio Almeida has yet to turn a wheel in anger in Prototype Cup Germany this year. Great to have them here making their debut this weekend here at the Hockenheimring. Suelio Almeida, who is the founder of the Motor Racing Academy, you may have seen his stuff online. He has over 5,000 registered drivers doing his online driving course and showing them how it's done in the real world. He has Luca Link as his co-driver. It was Luca who did the first stint yesterday and retired the car. We saw it last year in the BMW M2 Cup. Luca has got very sore arms because he's also racing a GT4 Porsche this weekend as part of this weekend. So the sun is shining, the sky is blue, and we are about to commence with the second half of the season for Prototype Cup Germany. This is race 7 of a 12 race season, and as we get ready on our formation lap in a few moments, it will be a rolling start. We are at the Hockenheimring, a circuit that is 4.574 kilometers around. That equates to about 2.842 miles. 17 turns, 9 to the right and 8 to the left. It is a wonderful legendary circuit that has hosted the German Grand Prix in the past for Formula 1. The real talking point of the circuit is this corner that we're coming up to now. It is the hairpin of turn 6, taken in first gear, just coming up to it at the top of your screens. It is a 180-degree hairpin turn. It is a great opportunity for the cars to overtake it, because it is a really tricky corner, and leading up to it we have the Parabolica, which is turn 5, which is taken absolutely flat out, very fast section of the track. These cars reaching about 260 kilometers an hour as they head in towards the hairpin, and then the heavy braking down into first gear and 50 kilometers an hour. So it creates those opportunities for overtaking, but we do often see incidents on the exit of turn 6 as they tear off down towards turn 7. So it is a great circuit. We are in the Rhine Valley, just near Hockenheim in Baden-Württemberg. A wonderful circuit and perfect day for a bit of racing. So the cars now starting to grid up. This race will be 55 minutes plus the obligatory 1 lap. There will be a mandatory pit stop, and for some of the cars also a driver change, as is always the case for Prototype Cup Germany, but we'll tell you more about that as the race progresses. At the moment, we're riding on board with Valentino Catalano. He knows he has a mountain to climb. Their championship chances took a massive hit yesterday, and their main rival at the moment is alongside them on that pole position. That is Valentino Catalano. Marcus Pommer will be in the red and black car with Catalano doing the first stint, but they have Riccardo Ciarelli, the youngest driver to have ever raced in Prototype Cup Germany by my records, at just 16 years old, on pole position. He leads the field across the line, and Valentino Catalano just with a nose in front, heading into turn 1, but Cirelli has the advantage of the inside line. That's a spinner for Torsten Kratz. So car number 2 getting turned around into the first corner. That is our championship leader. That is going to be like Christmas for car number 8, because if things remain as they are, they will make a big challenge at the top of the point standings. But look at Felipe Laza in car number 30 for Fricadelli Racing. He's up into second place. He's got around Valentino Catalana. That is bad news for Valentino Catalana, who now is falling into the clutches of Chiano Alazzari. Alazzari looking to the inside. In towards the hairpin they come. But look at this, Felipe Laza trying to go the long way around Riccardo Cirelli, one of the veterans of motorsport, alongside one of the young up-and-coming chargers. Valentino Catalano now down into 4th place because Chiano Alazzari's got past. Alazzari up into 3rd place. Catalano trying to come back at him, locking up a break in towards turn 8. That is Felipe Laza, just with the smoke coming from the tyres. He needs to not flat spot those tyres, because you cannot have tyre changes in Prototype Cup Germany, but he's looking eager as he challenges for the lead. It is Riccardo Cirelli who leads the way at the moment, but Felipe Laza, the driver who won the Nürburgring 24-hour race just a couple of years ago, in 2nd place, challenging a driver who this time last year was racing karts, and here he is leading the way in the Prototype Cup Germany here at the Hockenheimring. So the rest of the cars now settling down as we complete the first lap and they cross the line. It is Riccardo Cirelli who leads the way. Felipe Laza in 2nd place. Chiano Alazzari, a brilliant start from him in the number 21 car, up into 3rd place. Disaster again for Valentino Catalana. He's got a lot of work to do there, all the way back from 4th place. Then Suelio Almeida in car number 7, finally getting to race here in Prototype Cup Germany after a bad day yesterday, followed by Maxim Dirks, Antti Ramo, Michael Herrick and Torsten Kratz after that spin. So Torsten Kratz at the very back of the pack. So I've seen no notification as of yet of any penalty as we look at Felipe Laza to the inside of the hairpin. So Laza finding a gap and taking the lead of the race. Cirelli's going to try and come back at him, isn't he? So Cirelli taking a little look. They go flat out around turn 7. They don't even lift for that corner, but under braking into turn 8. You get the feeling that Felipe Laza has this very much under control. Now look at Chiano Alazzari in 3rd place. He took his first win last time out at Zandvoort. He has a sniff of a potential victory, certainly a podium here if things hold together at Hockenheimring in that 3rd place. The slightly less experienced Cirelli just in front of him, but both of these young drivers new into motorsport, into car racing, fighting for 2nd and 3rd place. Brilliant stuff there. Valentino Catalano clearly not enjoying the pace that he was hoping for, down into 4th place at the moment. He's got a lot of work to do from there. You see the little wobble from Cirelli as he comes out of turn 17 onto the pit straight. That is how hard he is trying. So we're going to have another look at the start of the race on a replay in just a few moments. Here we go. You can see that Cirelli made a good, solid start. Catalano tried to get his nose in front, but couldn't make it stick. But keep an eye on Torsten Kratz coming at the back, and that was where he got together. Antti Ramo getting right up, his rear wheels lifting up into the air. Fortunately, Kratz is able to rejoin. It doesn't look as though there was any damage to either of the cars. Of course, there may be some kind of damage to steering. We don't know. But it looks like everybody's able to continue at the moment. Torsten Kratz is a long way back. He's 13.5 seconds back from this battle here that we are looking at. For 2nd place, that is Riccardo Cirelli and Chiano Alazzari. At the moment, Felipe Laza has found a route through and into the lead. He's pulling clear, but there is a lot of time to go in this race. We have 50 minutes, 50.5 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap, and we do have the mandatory stop and, in some cases, a driver change. So when the cars come into the pits, there will be a minimum pit stop time for all cars of 95 seconds. That is measured from pit entry to pit exit. The drivers in the cars are rated by the FIA. We have the professional traditional drivers, Felipe Laza is gold rated. We have the young chargers, the silver rated drivers, and we have the drivers that are often referred to as either gentleman drivers or pro-am drivers, and they are bronze rated by the FIA. Now, depending on the rating of the driver will depend on how long their pit stop needs to be. So we have the 95 seconds minimum pit stop time. Then on top of that, the handicap. So a silver pairing will have an additional 20 seconds on top of that. That is 115 seconds in total. So the pink car that you're looking at, the BWT Muka Motorsport Duquesne with Riccardo Cirelli and Julian Apotelos, who are going to be at the wheel of that, that will have to be stationary for a total of 115 seconds. The bronze and silver drivers have an additional 10 seconds, so that makes it 105 seconds stationary. We have some of the drivers who are solo. The solo bronze driver, which is Antti Ramo, has no additional time, so just a 95-second pit stop. So the car that is number 14 in 7th place will gain massively during the pit stop because he will be stationary for many seconds less than the cars that are in front of him. The solo silver driver, Chiara Alizari, has a massive pit stop penalty of 25 seconds that will be added on. That means that his minimum pit stop time will be 120 seconds. That's going to feel like an eternity. Laza and Abelin, who lead the way at the moment, certainly Felipe Laza, that is a gold and bronze combination. They will have 10 seconds of additional time, making it 105 seconds. Confused? Well, it works. That's why it's there. Just to make things even more interesting, we have a handicap that is added for yesterday's winner. So yesterday's winners, Julian Apotelos and Riccardo Cirelli, will have an additional 7 seconds on top of what they have already added to their minimum pit stop time. Felipe Laza, Klaus Abelin, an additional 4 seconds on account of finishing second yesterday. And Danny Sufi and Torsten Kratz, an additional 2 seconds on account of finishing third yesterday. Excuse me, it does mean Chiara Alizari, who finished second, has that additional 4 seconds, will be stationary, or will be in the pits for 124 seconds, which is an insane amount of time. So car 21 has a lot of work to do in that third place as he tries to close in on the lead battle, because he knows he's going to be stationary in the pits for a lot longer than the cars that are around him. That was your little explanation of pit stops, Prototype Cup Germany. It sounds complicated, but it is a great way of leveling the cars. And if you want to read more about it, go and check out either the ADAC Prototype Cup Germany page or the Creventic Prototype Cup Germany page. There's more information about the pit stops, about what is occurring and how it's all done. Really, really useful stuff, but it gives us great racing. So we've got car number 2 who looks like he's in problems. So Torsten Kratz, we saw him having that spin early on at the start of the race, and now he is crawling. So the number 2 car looks to me like he's out towards turn 12, just coming into the Motordrome entrance. So whether he's had another moment or whether the car is in trouble, but he's certainly not up to speed. Looking at his lap times, well, last time around he was about 2 seconds slower than the race leader, but it does look to me as though car 2 may be coming into the pits, and this is very significant indeed, because this is our championship leader, Torsten Kratz and Danny Sufi, who lead the championship, and it looks as though that car is ailing. I don't think there's a tyre down on it. I think it may just have a problem. Having a look at the first lap, at the first corner of the first lap, where he got together with Antti Ramo, and if anything, I would have said it was Ramo who took the bigger impact. There was a little bit of debris flying off the car. You saw the Ramo car just going up on its front wheels and banging down again. Kratz, his co-driver, was able to rejoin at the back, but it does look as though there is a problem with that car. Now, what is going to happen here? In the meantime, Antti Ramo has received a drive-through penalty for causing that collision. Now, the tyre is up on that car, but the other car that was involved, currently in 7th place, Antti Ramo, for the second day running, is going to receive a drive-through penalty, this time as a result of a collision with this car here, and it seems as though this collision has almost certainly taken this car out of the race. It's certainly taken it out of the possibility of a podium, even if it's able to rejoin. But you look at the crew, they're not in any hurry to get that sorted. And Danny Sufi, who will be sat in the garage looking at the monitors with his overalls on now. Oh, it does look like they're changing a tyre, so maybe it is a left front puncture. We'll keep one eye on that. So maybe Danny Sufi will get a drive, but it's going to be very much damage limitation here in race 2 of the weekend at the Hockenheimring. So yes, well, they've got the wheel off, but they're not in a hurry to put another one on, are they? Looks as though that car has been retired back into the garage. This changes the whole dynamic of the championship. To remind you, coming into this weekend, Danny Sufi, Torsten Kratz had an 18-point lead over Marcus Pommer and Valentina Catalana. Well, with Pommer and Catalana having a non-start yesterday, and with Apotelos and Cirelli, who were in 3rd place in the championship, and they were 31 points behind. Well, coming into this race, they were 22 points behind. Suddenly, they are going to be propelled towards the top of the championship, because it doesn't look as though the number 2 Conrad Motorsport car is going to be scoring anything today. So the cars have gone into full course yellow. That is literally the full course yellow has flashed up onto our screen, and that is why car 80, Maxim Dirks, into the barriers. Looked like he has made fairly heavy impact with the barriers. So the full course yellow came out on track before we'd even seen it on the timing screen. So we saw the cars slowing. So Maxim Dirks, and I'm looking to see where he is on my timing screen, and can't quite work out what part of the circuit he is on, but the car is stationary, as you can see, at the side of the track, and the marshal's just checking that he's all okay. So clearly there has been an impact there. You can see the grass being stirred up at the moment. So full course yellow, it means that the cars have to reduce their speed to no more than 80 kilometers an hour. So the cars are brought down to that slow pace. A lot of debris out there as well, so obviously the cars, it looks to me as though that may be on the exit of the pit lane. So I think that's up between turns 1 and 2 that has happened. The rest of the cars just filing past at the moment, and it looks as though he has made contact with the wall. Doesn't look like there's any major urgency around the car, so hopefully all's good with him. But it brings out a full course yellow. Our race steward very quick to bring that out, and the car's quite rightly brought down to a slow speed. Well, there is the damage to the barrier that you can see, and there is parts of the Gebhardt Motorsport Duquesne, and the Gebhardt team are going to have their work cut out getting that car back together for race 3 of the weekend. So just see the doctor is just attending, making sure that Maxim is all right. One of the junior drivers from Belgium, and great to have him here. Got a 5th place yesterday. Jakob Erlbacher is not going to get a drive in that car this afternoon. That is, well, this morning. He may do this afternoon because there is another race, of course. There is our race leader. So Felipe Lazar. A full course yellow, of course, means the cars maintain the gaps between them. It's good to see. Looks like Maxim Dirks is out of the car. So because the cars are all circulating at the same speed, it's not as major as a safety car. Of course, it may well turn into a safety car if the stewards decide they need to do some more work on the fence or anything like that. But at the moment, full course yellow means that the gaps are maintained between the cars. You can see from that man's back how hot it is here at the Hockenheimring. It really is boiling hot here. The temperature in its 30s. There's Maxim Dirks. just getting into the medical car. He will be checked over by the medical team. Just a routine thing. Whenever a driver has an impact with a fence, always checked over by the medical team, because the driver's well-being is of paramount importance. It won't take them long to remove that car. Hopefully, I think the fence looks, well, I'm not a race steward, but to me the fence looks reasonably intact, so hopefully we won't have to have any repairs done to that. Of course, the clock keeps ticking, and it may well be that if it takes them long enough to move this car, that we end up with the pit window being delayed. Now, the pit window opens 22 minutes into the race, so as we look on from the Gebhardt garage, and Jakob Erlbacher, who can take his overalls off now, because he's not going to be sitting behind the wheel of that car this morning, that is for sure. The pit window that will open 22 minutes into the race, so when the clock strikes 33, and the window will open for 10 minutes. And during that 10 minutes, every car will need to come into the pit lane for a mandatory stop. Now, for the drivers that are running solo, they still have to make the stop, but of course there is no driver change. I've already told you about the minimum pit stop times. I'm not going to go through all that again. But Keanu Aladari coming in for that 124-minute pit stop. He's got time to nip out and get himself a drink and sit in the sun and then get back in the car again, really, hasn't he? It's a heck of a long pit stop, and that is why he will be trying to push hard to get as far up the field as he can. Right, well, that is not Maxim Dirks. That's somebody else who fancies a drive of the number 80 car. He's going to be steering it. So here we go. Some lessons in recovering a decaying D08 from the side of the circuit at Hockenheim. And great job done by the Orange Army. We cannot go racing without them. They do a wonderful job. There is our race leader, still circulating. The gap, 2.5 seconds. It should remain at that, as long as Riccardo Cirelli is not speeding or indeed slowing down. So he is 2.5 seconds behind. Then 3.7 seconds back from the race leader, it is Keanu Alazzari. Valentina Catalano, not a great weekend for him so far, along with Marcus Pommer. Marcus Pommer, who is the defending champion in Prototype Cup Germany, was looking pretty solid coming into this weekend. They won't thank me for mentioning this every 5 minutes, but it is significant, because if the race finishes now, Riccardo Cirelli and Julian Apotelos will score 20 points for second place, and that will take them up to 120 points. Danny Sufi at Torsten Kratz are not going to score anything. They've retired, so they will be just 2 points behind Danny Sufi and Torsten Kratz. Marcus Pommer and Valentina Catalano coming into the race had 88 points, but finish as they are now, and they get a 4th place, they will get 13. So 98, that's 102, isn't it? I put my shoes and socks off here counting. So 102 points, so they will be about 18 points off the lead. So not disastrous, because their main challenger in the championship, Danny Sufi and Torsten Kratz, are not going to be scoring any points. So it's not total disaster, but Catalano will be thinking about that front row start, and thinking about the possibility of a podium and all those lovely points that go with it. And at the moment, down in 4th place. But there is a long way to go, and they're still working on the number 2 car. So I said they'd retired. Well, maybe they haven't. There is Franz Conrad himself, the team owner, getting involved in getting that car back together. So all the doommongers, myself included, who said they'd retired, well, that is not the case, because it certainly looks to me as though they're planning on rejoining. And although a podium would be out of the question, they would certainly pick up points, because points are paid down into 15th place, and there are 9 cars in this race, so everybody who finishes will score points. So thinking about the long game, the Conrad Motorsport crew working on the car that has Torsten Kratz sat in the seat, helmet on, getting ready to go, and he will no doubt be rejoining whatever damage was done. Now, it does look like it was probably some kind of suspension damage, wheel, something at the front left of the car. You can see how technical I am here, can't you? Something at the front broke, but anyway, they've repaired it, and it looks as though the Conrad Motorsport #2 car is going to rejoin the car that we have lost, though, Maxim Dirks, in the hundreds and thousands liveried Gebhard Motorsport Duqueine DO8. Jakob Erlbacher will not be getting a drive, but look at this. Great stuff here from Conrad Motorsport. There is Franz Conrad, the man with the white hair, an absolute legend in his own lunchtime, and he has raced in Prototype Cup Germany. He certainly did last year, raced in many things over the years. Right, we are getting ready to go. We're more than getting ready. We are, in fact, go. The green flags are back out. The race is underway. And already Felipe Laza has got his foot on the gas, and it looks as though he has made a great start. Riccardo Cirelli, we haven't seen what the timing gap is between them, but hopefully he was awake when the lights went green. So with just over 34 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap, the race is back underway. We're under green flag conditions as we look at Antti Ramo. He had 6th place yesterday. He's in 6th place today. He finished in 6th place in the last race at Zandvoort as well. He'd like to break that cycle because the one before that took his first ever win. That was race 1 at Zandvoort. Look at Keanu Al-Azari. These two drivers, Cirelli and Ozari, in 2nd and 3rd place, have been so impressive in Prototype Cup Germany. Both of them absolute superstars, up-and-coming stars in the world of motor racing. And Cirelli, who came straight from karting 4 years ago, his mother asked Peter Mucker whether he could sit in the Formula 4 car that was in the pits. He said yes, and Mucker and Cirelli have stayed in contact since then, and Mucker eventually offering him a test. Within 5 laps of the test, Cirelli was fast and error-free. They knew there was a superstar in the making. Look at this, 1, 2, 3 in the race, heading into the hairpin. We're running together. Felipe Laza in the lead. The impressive Riccardo Cirelli in 2nd place. The also impressive Keanu Al-Azari in 3rd place. He is always there or thereabout. Al-Azari, who's also racing in Spanish Formula 4 this year, has already won 2 races. That's how good he is. In 3rd place, he knows he needs to make as much space as he can because he has that long pit stop coming up ahead of him when the pit window opens. And the pit window, well, it should be opening in about 30 seconds if things remain as they are. But with the full course yellow, it may well be delayed. No, it isn't. The pit window is open now, according to the timing screens. So the teams will be rolling the dice, looking at the strategy, deciding when to bring their driver in. I would suggest that the race leader, Felipe Laza, who as a gold-rated driver is arguably quicker than Klaus Abelin, if ever such dreadful things could be said, they'll want to keep him out for as late as possible into the pit window. But already Keanu Al-Azari wants to get that lengthy pit stop out of the way. Valentina Catalano also into the pits. He's going to be handing over to Marcus Pommer, the legendary driver who we've seen in GT Masters. We saw him in Formula 3 back in 2014. Marcus Pommer, an absolute legendary driver, the defending champion in Prototype Cup Germany. Valentina Catalano walks away from the car. He is done for this race. There is Keanu Al-Azari. He won't be getting out of the car. He will just be waiting there. In comes the number 90 car as well. So Michael Herrick is going to be handing over to Sven Bart, another driver who we have seen in GT Masters. There is Sven. He's rather enjoying the Ginetta. He says it fits his frame a little better than the Duqueine did that they had before. I don't know what you mean, but there is the seat insert in the hands of Michael Herrick. They don't have any major rush, so they've got 105 seconds that they need to be in the pits for Momo Gebhard. That is because it's a bronze and silver combination. It's great to have the camera angle. There you go, a nice arm helping him to get plugged in and all switched on But into the pits they are at the moment. Our race leader, as predicted, staying out late into the window, and I think he's going to be out for some time yet. Felipe Laza leading the way. Riccardo Cirelli doing a solid job, just 1.6 seconds back from the race leader. Chiara Alazzari in that second place, in that third place, but into the pits. Another one coming into the pits. So that is Suelio Almeida, who will be handing over to Luca Link, the driver who had a fairly short stint yesterday, will be itching to get back behind the wheel of the data lab by Rinaldi Racing Duquesne D08. So into the pit lane he comes, keeping to 60 kilometers an hour, hitting the marks almost at the halfway point of the race. So out of the car will get Suelio Almeida, and Luca Link will be poised and waiting for the Brazilian driver to get out. He does just that, and he will be jumping in. Our race leader continues to be Felipe Laza. Last time across the timing line, it was 1.6 seconds over Riccardo Cirelli. Of course, both cars will need to make a stop, and the Cirelli stop will be 122 seconds. The Laza stop will be just 105. So this is all going to change around once these pit stops are over. So the work being done on the cars that are in the pits. That is the number 7 car with Luca Link at the wheel, just getting buckled in. The mechanics helping him to get all sorted. It's all safe, no major rush, because they have 15 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. Felipe Laza continues to circulate at the front of the field. The legendary driver of Felipe Laza, who won the Nürburgring 24-hour race in 2023. He's guested several times in Prototype Cup Germany. Right, into the pits comes our race second place car. So Riccardo Cirelli into the pits. Julian Apotelos will be getting ready. Now, what's happened here? Felipe Laza out onto the pit straight, just getting it a little bit wrong. Well, track limits might be an issue. They have been an issue throughout qualifying and free practice. There's nothing that's been flagged up by our race stewards, but he needs to be careful because exceeding track limits may well see him picking up a penalty. So Felipe Laza continues at the front, the second place car of Riccardo Cirelli, handing over to Julian Apotelos, yesterday's winners in that second place. Now back into the pits. This will be for the mandatory stop as opposed to anything else. Of course, they have to come in during the pit window. That lengthy stop that they had for repairs does not count. So Torsten Kratz will jump out of the car. Danny Sufi will be looking to just do the best he can with what he has left. They're a couple of laps down. They're more than a couple of laps down. They are 4 laps down on the race leader. So probably 8th place is as good as it's going to get, but 8th place will pay 8 points, which will be incredibly valuable in the championship hunt. Julian Apotelos behind the wheel. Chiara Alazzari back out on track. He's into 6th place at the moment. The number 5 car is out. We haven't got a number 5 car, so ignore that. It's Chiara Alazzari in 5th place in the number 21 car. We're just looking at the screens refreshing. So Laz is still out. Antti Ramo has yet to stop. Of course, he had that drive-through penalty. Julian Apotelos won't be worried about him as he rejoins, at the moment showing in 3rd place. But of course, the leader still yet to stop, as is also the case for Antti Ramo. There's Chiara Alazzari currently showing in 5th place. But as we say, we hold this all lightly as Danny Sufi lights up the tyres of the Conrad Motorsport Ligier. Back out into the pit lane he comes. So there is Julian Apotelos, the flashing lights of Marcus Pommer behind him. Marcus Pommer, who's at the wheel of the number 70 car, not Valentino Catalano. So Pommer has taken over from Catalano in that car. There is Julian Apotelos. So this is going to be significant because when the pit window closes, this is going to be for actual podium positions. We're still waiting for Lazar to come in for his mandatory stop. He will hand over to Abelin. We're also waiting for Antti Ramo to come in. To remind you, he will have a 95-second minimum pit stop time, so he has the shortest pit stop time of anybody as a result of being a solo bronze driver. The Estonian who has impressed took that win at Zandvoort just a few weeks ago. So there is Julian Apostolos crossing the line in third place at the moment. It is Marcus Pommer in the fourth place in the number 70 car, who's taken over from Valentino Catalano. Then Chiano Alazzari. So in comes Antti Ramo into the pit. So this is significant. We knew Felipe Lazar was going to stay out late in the window. He's certainly doing that at the moment, but he must not miss the pit window. If he pits after the window has closed, there will be a very large penalty incoming. So Ramo into the pits. The door is open. He won't be getting out unless he needs a very quick comfort break. He will be just opening the door to get a bit of air into the number 14 Ligier that is run by MRS GT Racing. Another team that is legendary. We have so many legendary teams. Now that is the number 7 out onto the grass. So Luca Link doing a little bit of grass track racing. He's in 6th place at the moment. He hasn't lost a position to Sven Bart, but Sven Bart has been able to use that to close in on him. So Sven Bart homing in on Luca Link in car 7. We look at Antti Ramo still in to the pits. Our race leader now in the closing stages as the pit window is about to close. So Felipe Lazar hits the marks to get the speed limit on, and then Klaus Abelin will be waiting in the wings, ready to jump into car number 30. That car will need to be stationary, well, from pit entry to pit exit anyway, 105 seconds. So there is Abelin, 105 seconds, plenty of time for Lazar to get out and Abelin to get in. So once Lazar is out, he hopes Klaus Abelin to get into the car. I was going to say he'll help him to get buckled up, but he's clearly had enough, and he's off to the back of the garage for a well-earned drink. But now Klaus Abelin will jump behind the wheel of the team, the Fricadelli Racing Team, another team that makes its name throughout German motorsport. Wonderful team. Right, on board, that is with Marcus Pommer, and up ahead of him, Julian Apostolos. So it is Apostolos who is in 2nd place. Currently, Antti Ramo still showing in the lead, but of course he's into the pits, so shortly Apostolos will re-inherit the lead of this race, just waiting. In fact, Antti Ramo has rejoined. I say he was going to be in the, he wasn't going to be in the lead, but he has rejoined as a result of that short pit stop. Antti Ramo has come out in front of Julian Apostolos, so Antti Ramo is leading the way in this race. Julian Apostolos in 2nd place. Valentino Catalano's handed over to Marcus Pommer in 3rd place, and then that car there, Chiano Alazzari, in 4th place. We're still waiting for Klaus Abelin in the pits at the moment. The number 30 car, well, the rest of the field are coming along the pit straight as we speak. The number 30 car will lose the lead at this point, effectively. It's Antti Ramo who, after the pit stop sequence, that minimum pit stop time has really helped him. Right, now Abelin is moving into the pit lane. Comes the number 30 car. He's going to rejoin somewhere near Chiano Alazzari. So I think he's going to be just behind the number 21 car of Chiano Alazzari. There is Azari. There is Klaus Abelin. So Abelin rejoining in 5th place. So good solid drive. Felipe Lazar, who was in the lead. The car was stationary for less time, so onto the outlap comes Klaus Abelin, and out towards the hairpin. So Antti Ramo leading at the moment. We're going to wait for the timing screens to correct. I'm presuming that Klaus Abelin is on the same lap and not one ahead of these guys. I don't think his pit stop was that short. There is Antti Ramo. Julian Apostolos currently putting the pressure on. Behind them, Marcus Pommer. Out into the Motordrome they come. the Motordrome entrance, the MRS GT Racing number 14 car. To remind you, this is a bronze-rated driver. He's got two very experienced silver-rated drivers behind. Julian Apostolos took his first win yesterday, out onto the pit straight. Right, we're going to wait for the timing screens to refresh in a few moments. So there's Ramo into the lead, as you were. Julian Apostolos in second place, Marcus Pommer, then Chiara Alazzari, then Klaus Abelin, and then Sven Bart. So it's all got very, very close. This is for the race lead. 20 minutes remaining of this, race 7 of a 12-race season for Prototype Cup Germany 2024. The winner in race 1 at Zandvoort, Antti Ramo, leading the way. Julian Apostolos, the pole-sitting car, just behind him. And then behind them, Marcus Pommer, the 1, 2, 3, running together. And through the hairpin they come. In the background, Chiara Alazzari in the 21 car. This is very soon going to become a four-way fight for the lead. Antti Ramo pulling on all the resources that he has to try and stay in front. But Julian Apostolos, the young charger, the silver-rated driver, homing in on him, 0.6 of a second behind. Says on your screen, Catalana in third place, but it's Marcus Pommer who is in that car. He has taken over from Valentina Catalana, so the graphic in third place does say Catalano, but it is Marcus Pommer in that third place, and this is his view. He can see Julian Apostolos just ahead of him. After a disastrous day yesterday, Marcus Pommer will be looking to move up the order. At the moment, it's a podium position. It will be valuable points, especially as Torsten Kratz is currently down in 8th place. Torsten Kratz, along with Danny Sufi, who lead the championship, had that disastrous moment where they dropped 4 laps after contact on the opening lap. They got damage to the car. They're coming in to just to get the points, any points that they can. Chiara Alazzari in 4th place, closing in. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, all running together around turn 2, out in towards turn 3. The Parabolica is turn 4, taken absolutely flat out, and turn 5. 2 corners linked together. The drivers keep their feet planted on it, reaching 260 kilometers an hour in 5th gear towards the hairpin. Then the heavy braking into 1st gear, taken at about 50 kilometers an hour. Around turn 6 they will come out of the hairpin. Then another flat out corner. That is turn 7. Out towards turn 7 they come. Around turn 7, and then in towards turn 8. It will be a left-hand turn, the heavy braking, 2nd gear, 90 kilometers an hour, turn 8. That is the left-hand turn. Around there, 9, 10, and 11 done in quick succession, and in towards turn 11, 145 kilometers an hour in 3rd gear, the Mobile 1 corner. Then towards turn 12, taken in 4th gear, building up the speed to 250 kilometers an hour before the braking of turn 12. And then it's in towards Sachs Curve in the Motordrome Arena. Sachs Curve, turn 13, taken at 90 kilometers an hour in 2nd gear. A couple of windy corners, and then it's back out onto turn 16 and 17, out onto the pit straight. Then it's foot flat to the floor, all the way in towards turn 1, reaching 230 kilometers an hour in 5th gear as they head towards turn 1. Still very much as they were. Wrong drive-through penalty. Antti Ramo, is he going to get his 3rd drive-through penalty in 2 races? Because at the moment, he is under investigation. Antti Ramo, wrong drive-through penalty. I'm not entirely sure what that is. It's either you did one or you didn't, so maybe he did something wrong in the drive-through penalty. He received that at the start of the race after the contact with Torsten Kratz. He's currently leading the way. He's under pressure. And is he going to get another drive-through penalty? He's going to be thinking about the earlier one, because without that, his lead would have been massaged by now. But he's got another drive-through penalty. Violation of Article 16.6, whatever that is. But car 14, it is an issue with his previous drive-through penalty. Our race leader is going to have to visit the pits again. He's got a 2nd drive-through penalty. He will be thinking about what might have been, because without the first drive-through penalty, penalty. He could have been leading this race by some 20+ seconds. Instead, he's going to have to visit the pits again. It's going to drop him back to 7th place in this race. He's leading the way. Another gift for Julian Apostolos, yesterday's winner, because he is going to inherit the race with 15.5 minutes remaining. But Marcus Pommer is loitering in the background. Also, Chiana Al-Azari there as well, looking to jump to get into the lead. But Chiana Al-Azari, is he going to score yet another podium? Because he is going to be elevated up into a podium position when car 14 goes in for his drive-through. That was Marcus Pommer getting it all wrong around the hairpin. So easy to do in these cars that rely very much on downforce, a very different discipline to the GT3 racing that we've been used to seeing Marcus Pommer in the past. But he showed how good he is because he won the championship last year along with Gary Hauser in Prototype Cup Germany. Here he is in 3rd place. There is your leader, but he's got to come into the pits for a second drive-through penalty. Antti Ramo for MRS GT Racing, 0.7 of a second behind. Julian Apostolos is going to be inheriting this lead. Marcus Pommer is going to inherit 2nd place, and Chiana Al-Azari is going to inherit 3rd place. 14.5 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap for this race 2 of 3 this weekend for the Prototype Cup Germany. Brilliant stuff from Antti Ramo, but disastrous when it comes to the drive-through penalty issue. It could be a second one coming up this time around. He will need to take it very soon, otherwise he will get a further penalty on that. I think he's allowed to cross the start-finish line twice before he has to visit the pits, but he needs to get this done and dusted. Here he comes into the pits to serve his second drive-through penalty of the race, handing the lead to Julian Apostolos, yesterday's winner, along with Riccardo Cirelli. But this time they have Marcus Pommer behind, having taken over from Valentino Catalano. The car that started second on the grid now into 2nd place, and this is going to feel so painful for Antti Ramo as he sees the rest of the field passing by. Currently on the outside of him, Klaus Abelin has passed him by, or has he? Coming out of the pit lane, the 2 cars are going to be pretty well together on the track, but running out at the moment in the lead for the 2nd time in 2 races, looking to make it 2 out of 2 this weekend. Julian Apostolos. Marcus Pommer, though, looking dangerous in 2nd place. So your 1, 2, 3 is as they were on the grid, rather bizarrely. The 1, 2, 3 is how they started, but an awful lot has happened. So it was the number 8 car that started on pole position. It was car 70 that started in 2nd. It was 21 who started in 3rd, and it was number 30 who started in 4th, and he is back up into 4th place. So after all the pit stops and driver changes and penalties, the 1, 2, 3, 4 were exactly as they qualified. But an awful lot has happened in the previous minutes, but there are now just 12.5 remaining, and it's all to play for. The 1, 2, 3 running together on the circuit around turn 13, the Sachs curve in towards 14 and 15 and 16, and then 17. This is turn 17 here, out onto the pit straight once again. Now, what can Marcus Pommer do about Julian Apostolos, the very rapid Swiss driver who is leading the way? He is quick in everything that he drives. We've seen him in many other different series over the years. We've seen him in the ADAC TCR Germany. We've seen him in GT4. We see him now in Prototype Cup Germany, and that is Klaus Abelin locking up the number 30 car. Both he and Felipe Lazar have had their fair share of lockups in the 2 races that we've seen already this weekend. I should think the tyres on that number 30 car are shaped like 50p pieces because we've had several lockups and there will be vibrations, but that won't be an issue to Julian Apostolos. He's keeping it pointing in the right direction. No lockups, no dramas at the moment. In 2nd place, Marcus Pommer, well, he had the opportunity to challenge, and also the opportunity to challenge is Antti Ramo to the inside towards the hairpin on the inside of Klaus Abelin. The 2 cars getting very, very close. Now, Abelin ducks back to the inside. It's a drag race out of turn 6 towards turn 7 they come, but Antti Ramo making the move stick. So the two drivers, both of them bronze. It's bronze versus bronze, who are fighting for position. Fourth place is what they're looking for, and it's going the advantage of Antti Ramo, the driver who's had 2 drive-through penalties and yet is still in 4th place in this race. There they are, looking down as they're heading towards the Motordrome entrance, and out towards Sachs Curve they come once again. The banked part of the circuit, very fast corner, but if you get it all wrong, you end up in the gravel trap, and the gravel traps there are very, very deep. You can see the drag strip to the right of your screen there, that very black part of the circuit. Very, very slippery there, and the drivers do not want to be going out there, apart from the fact they'll be exceeding track limits, so there is no grip to be had out on the drag strip. Right, back to the race leaders. Julian Apostolos leading the way by about a second from Marcus Pommer, who had the opportunity to close in, but suddenly is looking a little bit under threat from Keanu Al-Azari, who is always there or thereabouts. The driver from the United Arab Emirates in 3rd place, who just knows nothing but finishing on the podium. He is just all the while pushing and pushing forwards in the number 21 car, looking so rapid, getting quicker as this season goes on, as he gets to grips with the LMP3 cars on board with Marcus Pommer. You can see this is not a Sunday morning drive in the sunshine. This is hard work. You can see how hard he is having to work at the wheel. Black and white flag has been shown to car 7 for disrespecting track limits. Luca Link currently in 7th place. He is 4 laps ahead of Danny Sufi, who is in 8th place. But Luca Link just receiving a warning from our race stewards with 9 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. Julian Apostolos out along the pit straight once again. Marcus Pommer just there, but back a little bit now. So about a little over 2 tenths, maybe 3 tenths of a second has been gained between 1st and 2nd. So Apostolos looks to have this under control. Keanu Al-Azari, the man on a mission, in 3rd place. They're all well clear of Antti Ramo, who had that drive-through penalty. He's done well to bring it back into 4th place, but without those 2 drive-throughs, he knows he could well have been a race winner here this morning in race 7 of the season. But ifs, buts and maybes, his loss is most certainly the gain of Julian Apostolos and Riccardo Cirelli, the Italian and the Swiss driver. A great partnership. They hadn't won a race this season until yesterday. Cirelli, 16-year-old, and over to Julian Apostolos, 23-year-old driver, who was recommended for racing by Bernd Schneider, none other. When you've got Bernd Schneider, who's banging the drum for you, you know you are a good racer. Julian Apostolos. Right, a 5-second time penalty has been issued to car 7. So Luca Link has received a 5-second time penalty for disrespecting track limits. So it's not going to affect the point score because, as I've already mentioned, they're 4 laps ahead of Danny Sufi. But a 5-second time penalty will be added at the end of this race. Now, Klaas Abelin once again putting another flat spot on the tyres of the Fricadelli Racing Ligier JSP 320. The tyres starting to get very tired, particularly in the heat here of the Hockenheimring on this glorious Sunday morning. Julian Apostolos, 25 laps in the book, 1.356 ahead of Marcus Pommer. Keanu Al-Azari in 3rd place, so spaced out a little, but it's not all over yet. There is Marcus Pommer, keeping Julian Apostolos well within his range, but he knows if he makes a challenge for the lead and it doesn't stick, the blue and white car in 3rd place will be there. Keanu Al-Azari sort of dropped back just a little bit. He is 2.9 seconds back from our race leader. 2nd place, 1.3 seconds back. So Al-Azari's actually closed it up a bit now, 1.574. So as they cross the timing beam, the gap's just stabilising a little bit fairly even between first, second and third. Less than 6 minutes plus 1 lap remaining of this race 7 of the season. You're looking at first place, the number 8 car, the BWT Muka Motorsport Duqueine, with Julian Apostolos at the wheel. You're looking at second place, the number 70 Gebhardt Motorsport Duqueine, with Marcus Pommer at the wheel. And in the background, the Mullner Motorsport Duqueine, being driven by Chiana Al-Azari. Duqueine 1, 2, 3 at the moment. First of the non-Duqueines, Antti Ramo in 4th place, having served 2 drive-through penalties. Bit of a lock-up there from Marcus Pommer. So he's still pushing hard. He still fancies a shot at the top step of the podium. But time is now starting to run out. We're heading towards the last 5 minutes of this race. Julian Apostolos holding the gap at 1.3 seconds at the moment. He is the leading junior driver as well in the Junior Championship. After yesterday, it was Danny Sufi who was leading Apostolos and Cirelli in the Junior Championship by 92.5 points. Well, that's going to have closed up if things remain as they are. Valentina Catalana, 3rd in the Junior Championship with 97.5 points. In the Trophy Championship, that's the bronze-rated drivers. Antti Ramo leads Torsten Kratz by 28.5 points, and if things remain as they are, then that gap will extend further, which is quite a mean feat considering the 2 drive-through penalties that Antti Ramo's had. Look how hard Marcus Pommer is pushing. In the Team Championship, Conrad Motorsport currently lead BWT Muka, who jumped up to second place yesterday. 21 points adrift of Conrad Motorsport. Gebhardt Motorsport dropped down to 3rd. They are 23 points adrift of the championship lead. And in the overall championship, as we've already mentioned, coming into this race, Danny Sufi and Torsten Kratz had a 22-point lead over Julian Apostolos and Riccardo Cirelli. Well, the number 2 car, that is the Danny Sufi car at the back there, pushing hard, could get past Luca Link. Not going to make any difference to the points because he's 4 laps down, but 8th place will still pay 8 very, very valuable points, and that will be critical in the championship standings. But Julian Apostolos and Riccardo Cirelli, if things remain as they are for the next 3 minutes and 20 seconds plus 1 lap, will close in on the championship lead. Marcus Pommer and Valentina Catalana, after a difficult start to this race, have come back into second place. So good recovery from a difficult start to the race into that second place. But we've got 3 minutes remaining plus 1 lap of this race 7. That's the car that's leading. Julian Apostolos, car number 8. He took over from Riccardo Cirelli, who had started on pole position for the very first time in his career in the Prototype Cup Germany, and now leading the way. They've had to work hard for it. It's not been easy, but Marcus Pommer 1.2 seconds back. I'm going to cross the line, see if he's done anything about that gap. 2.5 minutes remaining plus 1 lap, so across the line they will come. So it was 1.2, and yes, there is a big chunk taken out. Marcus Pommer's not given up, has he? 1.3 seconds is the gap between first and second. So Pommer pushing hard to try and close in on the leader. Chiana Al-Azari has dropped back. It's about 3 seconds back from the leader. So doesn't look as though Al-Azari can claim the top step of the podium unless the front 2 get together. And Marcus Pommer has maybe not quite given up on a top step of the podium finish here, but he needs to finish this race. A non-finish now would be disastrous for his championship, his Valentina Catalano's championship. So he must bring it home. Second place at worst, but he's got his eyes on the race leader, Julian Apostolos, just keeping the heat on, keep the pressure on, try and force Apostolos into a mistake, but you'd have to get up pretty early in the morning to force Julian Apostolos into a mistake. A very accomplished and experienced driver leading the way for BWT Muka Motorsport. 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. So it's going to be a couple more laps after this one, because when the clock strikes 0, the leader will continue to finish that lap, and then it'll be +1 after that. So Apostolos at the moment into turn 16 and then out onto the pit straight. So the clock will strike 0 on this lap. So 2 more laps remaining of this race 2 of the weekend, race 7 of the season for the Prototype Cup Germany here at the Hockenheimring. It's Julian Apostolos and Riccardo Cirelli who lead the way. Gaps opened up a little, 1.435. So Marcus Pommer maybe not able to bring anything to challenge for the lead. Of course, catching him would be one thing. Finding a route past would be a whole other challenge. There is Danny Sufi. He needs to bring it home, not get rabbled up with Luca Link. They are not in the same battle. Luca Link locking up the wheel, going into the Sachs curve. The smoke pouring from the tyre. So Luca Link, who's already mentioned, is also driving a Porsche in GT4 this weekend, getting lots of laps in around the Hockenheimring. Taking another look at that lock-up into the Sachs curve. The smoke pouring from the left rear of the car. But Danny Sufi deciding not to do any dive bombs to get past. There is no need to take any risks getting past the car in front because they are not fighting for position. The lead of the race, 29 laps in the book. Julian Apostolos into the Sachs curve for the penultimate time. It's saying last lap on the screen. I didn't see the last lap board coming out, so this may be the last lap. I thought there was one more after this, but the clock has struck 0. Right, the last lap has cleared from the screen. Let's just take a look. Now we start the last lap. That is correct. So on to the final lap of the race. Julian Apostolos leading the way by a second from Marcus Pommer. So he's taking 3/10 out. Julian Apostolos can afford to lose that. He needs to just keep it all together now. Keep it on the track, keep it pointing in the right direction, keep it looking ahead and not in the mirrors. Around turn 2 for the last time. Julian Apostolos flat out along the parabolica in towards the hairpin in a few moments for the very last time. Marcus Pommer too far back to pick up a slipstream or do anything about the leading car. Kiana Al-Azari in 3rd place, under braking in towards the hairpin. Turn 6 they come. Nice wide line in. Julian Apostolos, nothing wild, no locking up a wheel, just keeping it all together. Out towards turn 7. Coming into this race, we'd had 5 different winners in the first 6 races. It looks like we are going to have our second repeat winner of the season, and it's going to be the second time in the same weekend. Julian Apostolos ahead of Marcus Pommer for the very last time. They head out of turn 12 and in towards Sachs curve, turn 13. Marcus Pommer too far back to challenge onto the banking of the Sachs curve and in towards 14 and 15 for the very last time. Then into turn 16 they come. Had to be out of turn 17 onto the pit straight for the last time. It's 2 wins out of 2 for Julian Apostolos and Riccardo Cirelli, and it's damage limitation, a comeback in the championship for Marcus Pommer and Valentino Catalana into 3rd place. A good solid points haul in 3rd place. That was 2nd place for Pommer and Catalano. In 3rd place, Kiana Al-Azari, yet another points haul for the number 21 car. Then we need to wait for Antti Ramo, who will come home in 4th place. Across the line comes Antti Ramo, then winning in the trophy category in 5th place, Klaus Abelin in the number 30 Fricadelli Racing Team car in that 5th place. We're still waiting for him to cross the line at the moment. He's just come out of the final corner. Along the pit straight comes Klaus Abelin, and he will cross the line to win in the trophy category, and then it'll be Sven Bart who will come home behind him in 6th place. Our winning junior driver is also Julian Apostolos. Kiana Al-Azari 2nd in the juniors, and Luca Link getting 3rd place, his first podium in the junior race. Klaus Abelin, the winner in trophy, and in fact Abelin, the only of the trophy runners still going at the moment. I've got Antti Ramo as a trophy driver, so if that was the case, it's not showing up on the screen as such, but I think Antti Ramo is a trophy driver as well. So Antti Ramo actually winning in the trophy category with that 4th place, and 4th place overall. Very impressive considering the 2 drive-through penalties that he had, finishing just 25 seconds back from the race winner, and he will be thinking about what might have been had he not had those 2 drive-through penalties. No doubt about our race winner though, Julian Apostolos, Riccardo Cirelli. Brilliant stuff. Solid driving, mature driving, no dramas, no mistakes, keeping out of trouble. Marcus Pommer and Valentina Catalano, after a difficult start to the race, were able to come back a solid 20 points for that 2nd place. Significantly, Danny Sufi has finished the race in 8th place, and he gets the valuable 8 points as a result. And those points may well be critical when the championship is all done and dusted at the Sachsenring in September. Into Parc Fermé comes the number 8 car for the 2nd time this weekend, pulling up in front of the number 1 board. The 2nd win of the season for Apostolos and Cirelli, and the 2nd win for them of the weekend. Of course, we have a bonus race this weekend. We get to do it all again this afternoon. Is it possible to make it 3 out of 3? Nobody's ever won 3 Prototype Cup Germany races on the same weekend. It would be something of a record if they could make it 3 out of 3. They are looking very, very solid. There is Riccardo Cirelli, and a big embrace. The Italian and the Swiss driver, who are such a potent partnership. Congratulations also been offered from Marcus Pommer and Valentina Catalana. They will be greatly relieved because it didn't look like they had the pace at the start of the race, but they were able to bring it back, and they picked up those solid points for 2nd place. They were behind Apostolos and Cirelli for the 1st place, then Pommer and Catalana, then Keanu Al-Azhari in 3rd place, ahead of Antti Ramo. I believe he's in trophy, so I think he's a trophy winner. In 5th place, Sven Bart and Mikael Herrick. And then it's Klaus Ablin, Felipe Laza ahead of Luca Links, Suelo Almeida, Danny Sufi and Torsten Kratz, and of course Jakob Elbacker and Maxim Dirks were non-finishers. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from what has been a great race. Race 2 of the weekend, race 7 of the season for Prototype Cup Germany. So it was the number 8 car, Riccardo Cirelli, started on pole position. It was Valentina Catalana who started alongside, but getting a little bit, trying to get in front into the 1st corner, but eventually getting swallowed up by the pack. But the talking point was the contact between Torsten Kratz and Antti Ramo. The result was Kratz into the pits. It was Ramo with a drive-through penalty. Then we had drama as the Maxim Dirks car made contact with the fence, bringing out a full course yellow. Once we were back under racing, Felipe Laza led the way, but after the pit stop sequences were done and dusted, eventually it was going to come out of the way of the number 8 car. But lots of drama along the way, including a number of lockups. So brilliant stuff here from the Prototype Cup Germany here at the Hockenheimring. So a great race, 55 minutes as we look at the drivers heading towards the podium. 3rd place going the way of Keanu Al-Azhari, yet another podium. 2nd place, Valentina Catalana and Marcus Pommer. They will be hugely relieved about that, having not made the start yesterday due to a leaking fuel tank on their car. But the top step of the podium for the 2nd time this weekend, catapulting them towards the top of the championship. Your race winners, Julian Apostolos and Riccardo Cirelli. So they jump onto the podium.
Und wir brauchen auch wieder einen Teamvertreter oder Vertreterin von BBT Mucke Motorsport hier oben. Das ist Enrico.
We have a representative from BWT Mucke Motorsport. They really didn't think this through with the size of that podium, did they? It's like sardines, everybody. There's the Mucke Motorsport representative. Right, I think we're going to have a national anthem. Oh no, we're going to get Antti Ramo up first as the winner in the trophy category.
Da ist er. Also Antti Ramo muss auch noch zu uns nach vorne
Antti Ramo,
als Trophy-Gewinner.
Who wins the trophy, of course, the winning driver in the junior category as Potolos and Cirelli as well. So, I've got anybody else who want to pull up there? No, we're going to have the national anthem. So, hats off, national anthem time.
Herzlichen Dank dafür. Jetzt gibt es
national anthem done,
nämlich zunächst den Pokal
and
für die Drittplatzierten in der Gesamtwertung.
The trophies to be presented.
Nämlich Keanu Al-Azari.
So Keanu Al-Azari getting a trophy for third place. He's getting quite a few of those trophies now, isn't he?
Und endlich gibt's für euch auch mal eine Auszeichnung. Der Pokal
Such
für
an
Markus
impressive
Sommer
driver.
und Valentino Catalano.
And then the second place, Catalano and Pommer. And your race winners, Riccardo Cirelli and Julian Apostolos. That concludes race 7 of the season for Prototype Cup Germany. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Join us for race 8 at 3:15 local time here this afternoon. A third race for the Prototype Cup Germany. Join us later on, 3:15 local time. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Tischdekorationen mit nach Hause. Trophy-Winner, Rennen 2, Antti Ramo. Da nimmt er auch noch einen Pokal mit nach Hause, noch 2 Durchfahrten. Das war ein mehr als